There is a specific type of person who stares at their phone as a text bubble pops up saying, "Hey, let's grab drinks tonight," and immediately feels a heavy physical wave of exhaustion wash over them. Not because they don't like the person texting them, not because they have clinical social anxiety, and definitely not because they are depressed. They feel exhausted because the sheer, monumental logistics of leaving the house, finding the right outfit, calculating the commute, mentally preparing for 3 hours of loud, overlapping small talk feels like preparing for a military deployment. When they are already sitting in their exact favorite spot, bathed in the quiet hum of an empty house. If you are this person, society has probably thrown a lot of labels at you. Antisocial, boring, a hermit. But environmental psychologists and researchers studying personality constructs actually have a completely different term for what you are doing. They call it a home-centered orientation. It is a psychological baseline where your natural state of equilibrium is found strictly within your own four walls. You are not hiding from the world. You are actively choosing a space you have perfectly optimized for your nervous system. You don't need external chaos to feel alive. You know exactly how you like your lighting, your temperature, and your silence. To understand why you are like this, we have to look backward. Many people with a hyper-developed home-centered orientation share a very specific type of formative childhood experience. Think back to the late 1990s or early 2000s. Imagine a latchkey kid walking home from the bus stop. You turn the key, step inside, and hear the heavy metallic clunk of the brass deadbolt locking behind you at exactly 3:15 p.m. The house is completely dark, lit only by the glowing green digits of the microwave clock. No parents are home yet. There are no playdates scheduled, no organized sports to rush to. There is just the low static hum of the refrigerator, the glow of a heavy Sony Trinitron TV playing MTV's Tar L in the background, the jarring screech of AOL dial-up internet connecting in the family room, and the smell of microwave Totino's pizza rolls. What happens to a child in that environment? What do you think they actually learn? They learn an incredible, life-altering survival skill. They learn that an empty house is not a lonely house. It is a fortress. It is the only place where they do not have to perform for adults, navigate the endless hierarchy of school bullies, or manage anyone else's emotional weather. You raised yourself in those quiet afternoons. You learned to construct your own entertainment, your own rigid structure, and your own comfort. Home became deeply, neurologically coded as the ultimate safe zone. And once that circuitry is laid down in your developing brain, it rarely ever changes. Here is what is fascinating about how that childhood wiring operates in you today. There is a deep neurological reason why the outside world drains you so quickly. Let's look at a concept in cognitive psychology called allostatic load. This is essentially the invisible, cumulative wear and tear on your nervous system when it is constantly forced to adapt to unpredictable environments. When you leave your house, you surrender all control. You cannot control the volume of the restaurant, the freezing temperature of the office, or the sudden, invasive questions from a stranger in the checkout line. Your brain is forced to process millions of unpredictable microstressors. In fact, researchers studying sensory processing have found a striking baseline difference in how certain brains handle external environments. Introverted, highly observant brains process up to 30% more sensory data per second than their highly extroverted counterparts. 30%. That is a massive biological tax. It means when you are sitting in a crowded, trendy cafe, while everyone else is just hearing the background music, you are involuntarily processing the music, the harsh scraping of chairs on concrete, the hum of fluorescent lighting, and the anxious body language of the barista. No wonder you want to go home. Your brain is simply at physical capacity. You retreat to your house because it serves as an environmental restorative niche. That is a clinical term for a physical space that demands absolutely nothing from your cognitive reserves. At home, you control every single sensory input. If you want profound silence, you have it. If you want a specific aesthetic environment, you set it. You are not being antisocial. You are aggressively regulating your nervous system. But we need to be completely honest about the shadow side of this. Living this way comes with a heavy, unspoken cost. The guilt is real, and it is relentless. You probably have a graveyard of half-typed excuses in your phone right now, trying to figure out how to say, "I just don't want to go," without sounding like a terrible friend. You watch relationships slowly fade away because people mistakenly assume your physical absence means you don't care about them. Sometimes, late at night, you might even scroll through social media, looking at curated pictures of groups of friends laughing at a dinner party, and wonder if you are somehow broken. You wonder if you have built a life so comfortable, so perfectly insulated, that you have accidentally trapped yourself inside it. This is known as the competence paradox. You have become so incredibly efficient at managing your life, remotely mastering grocery delivery apps, thriving in remote work, curating your digital ecosystem, that you have stripped away all the accidental friction of the outside world. The spontaneous encounters, the messy, unpredictable collisions with other human beings that sometimes lead to the most meaningful memories of our lives. You have traded serendipity for total security. And sometimes, if you are being honest, that security feels awfully close to total isolation. Here is what nobody talks about, though. Your refusal to participate in the endless treadmill of going out is actually a profound form of quiet rebellion. We live in a society that fetishizes visibility and endless external engagement. The cultural message is loud and relentless. If you aren't out networking, brunching, taking aesthetic photos of your life, and proving you exist to an audience, your life has no value. It is completely exhausting. But you look at that performative social theater with completely clear eyes. You recognize it for exactly what it is. It is a scripted performance. Why pretend to care about the weather with a neighbor who is just as eager to end the pointless conversation as you are? Why spend $80 on drinks you don't really want? To sit in a room so loud, you can't even hear the person across from you, just to prove you are a fun person? Why fake enthusiasm for plans you were already dreading the exact moment you agreed to them? You just don't do it. You don't need witnesses to your existence to feel like your life is valid. This stems from a profound psychological strength. You have a fully internalized locus of evaluation. This means you do not rely on the applause, the likes, or the physical presence of a crowd to know your own worth. When you were that latchkey kid sitting alone in the afternoon glow of a quiet house, nobody was there to validate you. Nobody was clapping when you finished your homework or successfully made yourself a snack. You had to learn to generate your own internal satisfaction. As an adult, that makes you bulletproof against the modern anxiety of missing out. You aren't missing out. You know exactly what is out there, and you have consciously decided that what you have built inside your own space is infinitely better. And that is a beautiful, deeply misunderstood way to live. You have fiercely protected your privacy in an era where everyone else is giving theirs away for free on the internet. When you decline an invitation, you are not rejecting the people in your life. You are protecting your peace. You are honoring your biological limits. You are choosing authenticity over required inauthenticity. The outside world constantly demands that we consume, that we react, and that we perform. Leaving the house means stepping onto a crowded stage where everyone is an unpaid actor, exhausted, but still smiling. But home Home is the backstage. It is the one place where the heavy armor finally comes off, where you don't have to curate your face, your words, or your energy to make other people comfortable. You can just simply, quietly exist. Remember that glowing green microwave clock from when you were a kid? That wasn't just telling the time. It was a beacon that meant you were finally safe. You still have that safety. If someone sent this to you, or if you are watching this and mentally checking off every single box, please understand this. Your quiet life is not a symptom of something missing. It is the result of something you successfully built. You are not hiding from the world out of fear. You have simply mastered something that most people will spend their entire exhausted lives desperately searching for. You are perfectly content exactly where you are. If you've ever felt that creeping guilt for just wanting to stay inside, tell me in the comments exactly how you've designed your own safe space to be better than going out. And consider sending this to that one friend who always forgives you for canceling. It might finally explain everything they never understood.